Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Wednesday night, 11:30. I just decided to come up here and talk about another mental health issue. But this one may hit closer to home than all the others that I've spoken about. And this one is called Alzheimer's, right? So, Alzheimer's is a brain disorder that gets worse over time. It's characterized by changes in the brains and lead to deposits of certain proteins. Alzheimer's disease causes the brain to shrink and brain cells to eventually die. Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia, a gradual decline in memory, thinking, behavior, and social skills. These changes affect a person's ability to function. Now, for most of us, we understand that, or we would say that this is a old person's disease, right? But if we really start to look at, you know, numbers and things of that nature, it's not just affecting the 60 and the 70-year olds. It's starting to hit younger people, 50s, the golden year people, 40, 45-year-old people, right? And there's a lot of things that goes on when it comes to that thing called Alzheimer's, right? They are now even doing studies that Alzheimer's is related to diabetes. Some places, real is good evening. Some places even say that type 3 diabetes is connected to Alzheimer's and dementia, and that they're starting to label that as a type 3 diabetic scenario. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that, our brains is under attack, right? It's under attack by emotions. It's under attack by food. It's under attack by situations in everyday life. So how do how do we combat that thing? I know that people say that Alzheimer's, you should eat fatty fishes like, salmon and tuna and all of those things to keep your mind, circulating. But because of this new theory of this being a type 3 diabetic situation, they are now telling us that too much sugar in our brain is causing dementia, to shrink our minds, to shrink the cells in our minds, to leave lesions in our mind to where we start to forget things. And that is a scary scenario when you really think about it, right? And I know most people are going to say, well, if it's a diabetic thing, I shouldn't worry about it. No, you should still worry about it, because there's plenty of people that have dementia that didn't have diabetes. There's many people that don't even have, like, their blood sugars as well, but they still have dementia. The fact that this knocks on every single door as far as our households, and we all know somebody that has faced Alzheimer's. We have always understood that, you know, there are people that fear getting older just because that thing, oh, hey, mate, that this thing is really attacking our elderly people. But like I just said, there are people in their 50s catching this now, and late 40s catching this now. This thing is real, and it's on the attack like never before, right? Like I said, they want you to eat the fatty acids, the fish and things like that. But because of this new study and turn of events, you don't never hear, but like it's not even documented in America that this thing is a type 3 this is a type 3 diabetes. We all know somebody that's got type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes, but now they're going up in numbers just by diabetes alone, and this is the third one that they are considering. If I'm not mistaken, there's about 7 different diabetic scenarios that the health the health organizations and the health field has placed on diabetes. But I'm just focused on this type 3 right here, which is called Alzheimer's, because I'm pretty sure that nobody even thought about that if there's too much sugar in the brain, that could lead to Alzheimer's, because we was never told that, because we was never, you know, put on or made aware of the situation. But the fact of the matter is that thing is real. I know people going to say, people getting Alzheimer's in their 80s, and then they catching Parkinson's and all of these other different things. But the fact is that our minds is under attack. Our minds, them people are under attack. Their minds is under attack. And it doesn't matter what age you are, you can catch this thing. You can get Alzheimer's or word. What up, though? You can, it doesn't even matter. And the craziest part is some of us that are hitting the early 40s, the 35 to 40, we are so afraid of this thing that if we start to forget things, we're like, oh Lord, this could be it. Like, oh my God, I think, there's people that's so afraid of this thing because they've seen the path that this thing leads. It's a scary thing. Make no mistake about it. I believe this is the scariest mental health scenario that anybody would want to have. Because depression, okay, you can get over depression. You can combat that. You can combat, bipolar disorder. You can combat all of those other ones that I've spoken about. But this one, this one hits home. This one right here scares the living hell out of so many people, right? And if you ever see, we've seen it before. But I'm gonna tell you my experience. My experience with Alzheimer's, it was a one. My grandmother was so damn awesome, right? She could sit there, she could tell the family history like nobody else on the planet Earth. And it was crazy because my grandmother never cussed. Her favorite line was Sam Hill, Dag Nabbit, and so on. So we sitting there, we watching her. She's getting up there in her age. She's about 70 years old. And then she said, "Oh, fuck this. Grandma, what did you just say? What do you think I just said? I ain't say nothing. Grandma, you just cuss. I ain't cuss." I said, "All right, Grandma, where you want to go? Go home. Where you want to go home to?" "I want to go home to my husband. Her husband been dead 20 years." I said, "Oh gosh, we gotta have a conversation." Nobody wants to put their family or members away, right? Let's just be real. If we love them, our parents or grandparents, we ain't trying to put them in a nursing home. We want them to be comfortable. But when they get to this stage of Alzheimer's, eh, it's some things that you can't even do, especially when you managing a household with kids and all of these other things. You want to do the right thing, but the right thing sometimes is to put them in a facility because you can't manage that. And I'm pretty sure there's people that's on here that say, I totally understand that, but no, you gotta put you can't push that. You can't push that to the limit. That thing is so scary. So anyway, so one day, my grandmother she said she wanted to go home. This is in New York, right? So she leaves the house. She's staying with a family member. I get the call like, yo, grandma's on the move. So what you mean grandma's on the move? Oh man, so I'm jumping in the car, we ride through the city. I know the city's big, so we trying to stay in the vicinity of where she used to live at, where we used to live at, right? Come to find out, I get the call like, yo, your aunt found your grandmother at the train station with no shoes on, talking about she's going home, she's going home. Man, we had to have that conversation, man. That put a hole in my heart so bad, all because her mental health was disintegrating in front of our eyes. People may joke about, mental health and things like that, but this right here, this is not a joke. This is gonna I don't want to guarantee that. I don't want to wish this on nobody, but I'm pretty sure that this has really touched each and every one of us in one way, shape, or form, whether it was a family member or a neighbor or our friend's family, which we consider family. It has touched every one of us. And it's a sad thing to see. It's a sad thing to observe because they can't even remember your name. What's your name? Man, I'm your son. You're my son. I ain't had no my son is a baby and man, that thing will break you down so hard, man. Like I don't think people really understand this thing, man. This thing hurts. And when I tell you it hurts, ask anybody that hasn't watched it for themselves. I don't care if you 60-year old and your parent is 80 and they going through this, or you are just in your 30s or your 20s or your whatever age it is. It don't matter. It hits any age. You got to sit there and observe that thing, man. Is there something we can do? We can slow it down. Well, the best way to slow it down is to make sure that we're taking care of our mental health. The best way, Cheeky, good evening. The best way we could do this thing is to really like examine our minds. Go to that go to that neurologist. Make sure that these things are being examined. Those of us in your 40s, make sure that you are up to par. You know what I mean? The same way you check it for your colon to get you know for it to not to have cancer is the same way you have to check your mind because you never know when it starts, if it starts. But if you get a clean bill of health, then God bless you. But you gotta start early with this thing. Whether it's a type 3 diabetic situation or not, you got to make sure that your mind is able, your mind is fit, because nobody wants to sit there and watch their loved one go through this thing. Nobody wants to watch their loved one diminish in mental health. I don't care what you tell me. Just the fact that you grow, how you know how many people wish they could just eradicate this thing. You know how many people have sat there and watched their mama not know their child's name. I don't think people understand how much pain that causes. I don't really think they do. Because if they did, they would be seriously worried about this thing. They would be doing everything possible to make sure that, man, this can't happen to me. And even your best may not satisfy the mental capacity of you not getting this thing. Man, when I tell you this thing is scary, man, when I tell you this thing is hard to watch, to sit there and view this thing. It's really hard. And I understand, this don't compare to none of the mental health situations that I've spoken about before. But like I said, this one is the scariest one because everybody think they could just gonna get old and everything. All they could move, they could walk. But how is life like to not have your memory? How is life? How do you live life knowing the fact that you may not have a clue what today is? You got to count your blessings that, hey, I know what today is. June. Look, I gotta look at the calendar. June 5th, 2024, and not worry. I know my name. I know where I reside. I know my kids. I know my grandparents, my parents, or whoever else is around you. That is a blessing. It is so many people that don't understand that that thing could strike at any given time. There are so many people that really take life for granted. Don't take this for granted. Understand that this thing is it's on the rise. They believe that very soon 12% of the world is going to have Alzheimer's, another form of dementia. But this is the most common form of dementia. This ain't like Bruce Willis where he got frontal lobe. This it's the same, but it ain't the same. And it ain't just hitting Hollywood stars. And it ain't just hitting entertainers. And it ain't hitting pro athletes. Just hitting these people. It hits everyday Joes like you, your family, my family, our families. We got to do the best that we can with ourselves, man. Like I said, this is not depression where we can get over it. This subject is not that. This is not bipolar disorder where you can just take medicine and they can control the balance of your mind. This is not what I'm talking about. They want you to believe that there's no cure. I truly believe that everything has a cure, but that's another subject for another day. I know that the pharmaceutical people want money. I do understand that. I believe that there's some herbal cures and things that'll help you get through that, that'll eradicate the membranes of the brain to where you can get through this. But we just going for argument's sake, for this conversation purpose. We're gonna say there is none. How do you prevent yourself from getting to this stage? How do you prevent yourself from becoming a victim to the processed foods that we eat, which helps eradicate our brain, the alcoholic beverages that eradicate our brain. You know, everybody thinks smoking weed can help you, but we all know that does more harm than help. How do we get through this thing? Yeah, we can be vegan. You still can get this thing. This is a scary subject, everybody. And this is, I know this is my last topic of mental health, but for me, this one hits home. This one hits the heart. This one hits the soul. Because I promise you, you don't want to see that in nobody's life. I promise you, you don't want to see if your parent is sitting there. What's your name? You raised me for 40, 50 years. You don't even know my name. That is worse than somebody calling you an a-hole. That's something that you can't bear. I remember when I was going to see my grandmother. It was times I sat there till she went to sleep, looked at her, cried because at the end of the day she raised me. She took my mother's place, and now my second mother don't remember who the hell I am. You lost the first one, and now the second one don't even remember. She remembered things that's another topic. She may remember she got to go home to her husband. She even remembers your little brother, but don't remember you. When I tell you, when I tell you, man, we gotta study. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop worrying about those high profile people. Let's focus on ourselves. Let's focus on our mental health. That's the message that I want to just talk about. Period. I know I picked this Alzheimer's situation, but all of it, we all need help. Those ones that I've spoken about prior can be, they can be helped. This one, man, you better nip this in the bud ASAP. Don't play with it. If you see somebody going through this situation, man, do the best that you can to have that conversation. Y'all don't want to know what that conversation is like to sit around the table and the family decides, well, who's going to do this? Who's going to take care of this person? How are we going to handle this? Does this one got life insurance? Does this one got Medicaid, Medicare, private insurance to help them to pay the bill in the nursing home? These things, these conversations will be had because the way this world is working, man, the way that these monsters, some of y'all want to call them one percenters, fine. But there are people out here trying to corner, trying to eliminate people's minds. And this is real. This is not science fiction. This is real life. This is really happening. Oh, I'm sorry. Cheeky hi, cheeky CC hi, CC. Good evening, everybody. What's up? I'm so like this thing right here. When I tell y'all, man, I didn't even want to touch this subject, but I just knew I had to because I just felt like I know I'm not the only one that had to go through this. I'm not the only one that had to see that pain, that blank look in the eyes of the person that has Alzheimer's. Do I know you? Man, you rather get shot. You rather get shot in your chest than to sit there and listen to that loved one tell you that. Some people might run in front of a truck, might think getting hit by a car is less painful for that than that situation to occur in their life. It's it's unbelievable how the way the world is attacking our minds. They're not just attacking the elderly because it doesn't just affect the elderly. It affects an entire home. It affects an entire family. It even affects an entire community, especially if you've been around that person all of your life. Hey, you remember Miss Johnson? Yeah. How's she doing? Oh, she got Alzheimer's. Oh my God, how you guys are handling this? Well, I would like to go see her. You can't go see Miss Johnson. There's a very good chance Miss Johnson don't even know you. She can't even recognize your face. If you say a name, oh, how's Jane Doe doing? You can't even tell a Jane Doe been dead for 25 years because you're so amazed that yo, she's really out of it or he's really out of it. I'm telling y'all, that's a hard thing to view. That's a hard thing to observe. But we have to start, you know, It's like I said, the same way we can get colonoscopies, the same way we could not the same way we examine to get breast cancer or diabetes, type 1 or 2 diabetes. We got to start checking our minds for this type of thing too, because I'm telling you that the crazy part about this is you still get depression with Alzheimer's. You still become manic. This thing gets so bad. Like I tell you, your anxiety will turn up. Your you might even be bipolar. Like, man, I'm doing okay. Man, fuck you. Oh my God, you might think they got Tourette's. No, that's the Alzheimer's kicking in. It's just eating your mind. And I tell y'all, this thing is serious. Your mind is shrinking. Nobody wants to have those type of conversations. Nobody want to think it can happen to them. I'm here to tell you it has happened to some people before, and some people in your life. So whether y'all understand it, whether y'all want to believe it, this is real. This is happening in whether it's a big city or rural city, country city, country town, wherever. It is hitting at a rate that is so alarming. Some people might say 10% ain't no rate. Yes, it is, because that means 1 out of 10. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's in this chat or on this live or viewing this live or catching the replay of this live that does not know what I'm talking about. This is not about judging the pain of the person. It's just a simple thing about knowing that this is real, that you have experienced that pain of looking at that person and they don't know you. This ain't no little kid. This is a grown up. What they say is once an adult, twice a child. Because you understand when you get over the hill, this thing will drag you down so fast you will feel like a child because your memory is gone. You can see. Sometimes you're not even able to talk correctly because this thing gets so severe that it'll make you babble like you was a toddler. This thing will make your mind so warped to where you can't even walk normally. You forget how to walk. This is real, guys. I'm serious. This is real, and I'm sorry that I'm a Debbie Downer right now, or if I am, but I just want y'all to know, man. We got to do something. We got to make sure that this doesn't occur to us. This doesn't affect our household no longer. Like I said, if you gotta do this every 5 years, go on and go to the neurologist and make sure that your people are getting examined for this thing. Don't wait till you get to your 70s and say, you know what, I'm starting to forget a whole bunch more. Prevagen is not going to help that. For those of you that don't know what Prevagen is, that's to help you get the fog out your mind. No. Y'all know Alzheimer's is eating your mind. There ain't gonna be no fog. It's gonna be a full out war going on with your brain. The shrinkage of your brain, the shrinkage of your cells around the brain. You gotta make sure that this thing is being examined early and often. You got to make sure that this does not happen. Well, you can do the best that you can to make sure that it's not happening to you. They say they got drugs to slow it down. They got herbal remedies to slow it down. Y'all know everything. God put everything. God got every cure on the planet, and it's in your soil. It's in your grass. It's right around us. That's what made these what like I said. This is a thing that may not even been occurring before this time. My mom passed away with dementia. So many things I wish we did or knew. And that's the thing, right? All we can do, Meek, is have the conversation. Well, they gave this, and this. You know, you got to do the research. I've researched that thing a lot because every time I close my eyes, I can see my grandmother. I could see her saying, "Well done," in her right frame of mind. I could see her talking about Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit. I could see her speaking about all of that in her right frame of mind. But then when you open your eyes a little bit, you can remember when she cussed you out and she never cussed in a day in her life. Or the time where she was so befuddled that she didn't even know where she was. Or even the simple things that she put the shoes on the wrong foot just to say, let's go out to the store. This hurts, y'all. There's no doubt about it. This is something that needs to be checked. This is something that needs to be researched because guess what? Like I said, Big Pharma is not going to give us the remedy. They don't give two rats asses about us. They don't give two rat asses about them elderly people, all those 50-year-olds, all those 60-year-olds that can live that thing out for 20 years and they got to sit there and suffer. And you got to be you that loving child or the loving grandchild or the loving uncle or nephew rather or niece. They can live that thing out for 30 years, be in their 90s, and you don't, and you just sitting there watching it diminish. Give them something, give them something. Oh, we're doing the best we can. But that goes to the band-aid on the when I talk about the putting a band-aid on a wound, not finding the source. We should be finding the source. If they say it's because the brain is being, it's shrinking, how do we keep that brain cell alive? How do we do that? Is it the fatty acid, omega 3? Is it that's what it is? We need to get on that. I know people don't like taking pills, but you need to give your parents, make sure they take those pills. And if that don't work, we need to, like I said, we got to examine our brains ourselves. But y'all see the slippage. This is not like a transmission. You can't go and rebuild this. This is a real life brain that has slippage going on in its life every single day. Hey, I remember when I used to, then the next day, what's your name? I don't know. How old are you? I don't know. I'm 72. But you was born in the what's this 2024. You was born in 1934, but you 72. You can't even remember the day that you was born. You remember your mama, your daddy, but not your brother or sister. Or you remember your great grandparent or your grandparents, but not your parents. I'm telling y'all that is something hard to watch. It is something unbearable. When I tell you it's unbearable, man, the thoughts that go through people's minds, I can't do it. But you love them so much, you want to make sure that they're doing okay, even though they tell you there's no cure. But you up there at that facility every day. You making sure, man, she getting the meals that she needs. What time you give her the medicine? How do y'all give her the medicine? Y'all mix it up. But you can't take her home because if you take her home, she may wander out somewhere and you can't find her. She may wander into traffic. Who knows? Who knows the sick people out here? They might try to do something crazy to that elderly person, man or woman. You don't know what today's society is, but we understand that today's health is not thinking about curing this type of scenario. They trying to milk the month. They trying to milk the elderly. They would rather see your Bronze, good evening. They would rather see your grandparents or your parents suffer than try to help them live another 5 or 10 years in their right frame of mind. Elderly people has use in our community, tribe, whatever. We need to know those stories of how their grandparents got here. There's a lot of people using ancestry because they don't have the family members that had that conversation. But now with this Alzheimer's on the rise, your parents or grandparents probably can't even tell you what the hell you need to know. So you got to go ahead and do the research about family history. all because nobody's doing the family or the research of how to save the minds. Excuse me. We all talk about saving our souls. We all talk about saving our hearts. But how are these old people trying to save? How are they saving their mind when it's under attack? Not a spiritual welfare, but a scientific one. I know the religion and science is against each other. Damn it, I pray that they hope they work together to find something to stop this from occurring. Nobody deserves to watch their parent go through that scenario. Nobody deserves to watch their grandparent go through that scenario. That is a pain that could never be replaced. That is a suffering that you are watching. You are biting on your damn finger every day like you want to cuss so bad, motherfucker, do something. But you can't do nothing. You can find all the herbal remedies that you want. But this thing got so severe that that remedy can't even stop it. All because nobody's telling you to check your mind, examine your mind, not spiritually or not physically. They tell you that spiritually, but not physically. But them same people won't check that sick and shut in person because they don't get no benefits from it. But those of us that has watched this occur, we see the benefits that we lose. It ain't a financial thing. It's an abundance of love that's being taken from you. No one deserved that abundance to be taken from them. Not a person in the world. I was lucky I asked questions when I was a kid, but my OGs wanted me to know, almost needed me, and I'm grateful for it. And that's the thing. Like Meek says, I still remember the last thing my mom said to me were her right mind popped in. And that's the thing. We can only just close our eyes and say, I miss when she would just sing that song to me. Or I can even remember her chastising me because I told her I didn't want to do A, B, or C, or him A, B, or C. Or in that right frame of mind, they would just hug me and let me feel like I was the most important person in that life. And then you open your eyes in real time, in real life, and they like, hey, where's your brother? Where's your mother? You my mother. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot. You right about that. The fight to sit there and observe that, man, it's a, ooh, man, y'all don't understand what that pain is like. And if y'all do, y'all probably like, I feel your pain. So continue to be a blessing. Continue to love those people that is in your life that have that right frame of mind. Don't allow it to go left. Do what you need to do. I don't care if you got to go every year. Neurologist, check the mind. See if it's in shape to where there's no Alzheimer's or dementia scenario coming up. They said 1 in 10 people gonna get it. Y'all don't want to be that one. You don't want nobody in your life to be that one. I promise you that. Because if you see it and if you observe it, man, that's a death that you wouldn't want on your enemy. I promise you that. It ain't swift. It ain't, boy, that's a slow grinder right there. Like I said, people live 30 years with dementia. So you might have caught it at 60 and be in your 90s. I had a great great grandfather that lived to be 106 years old. And the very same grandmother I'm talking about, that's the only one he remembered because she was a little child in his eyes. Lois, Lois, you still know how to make the pancakes? Grandma, yeah. I'm telling y'all that ooh. And they say it's not a familiar thing, but like I just told you, her grandfather had it, she had it. I'm, you know, you hoping and praying that it don't happen to you, but in all reality, it's always a possibility. So keep on your mental health, guys, especially this one. There's no little pill to say, you know what, your depression is gonna be over with in a few months. There ain't no little pill to say, you know what, we are controlling the mood swings of your manic depression. There is no little pill to say, you know what, your bipolarism is under control. They don't have that for this. This ain't no trauma situation. Because in all reality, the the trauma is gonna be for you. That you have to sit there and observe that situation. The trauma is for the family that has to sit there and like, oh my God, this person don't remember me. I've lived with this person for 40 years and they look at me the next morning and don't know who I am. Hi Diane, morning. And I'm telling y'all that's a pain, man. That's a they say joy, unspeakable joy. Man, that's a pain that'll leave you mute. That's a pain that'll make you bite the back of your cheek, insides of your gums. It's like, you all right? No, I'm not all right. I had to watch so and so go through this, and there wasn't a damn thing I could do to help her or her. That pain is real. And like I said, I apologize to allow this highest part of the mental health scenario that I've been speaking about be revealed today. But I just want y'all to see how diverse mental health can be. It can be a trauma situation. It can be it could be all of those things. But when it's being taken from you, there's nothing worse than something being taken from you. You know what I'm saying? Because they taking a piece. There's an entity. There's an illness that's taken away. That's eating your mind away. That's taking the memories of you walking with your parent, going to the store, and they buying you candy. You might forgot about that now. You might have forgot your own child's name if you have this thing. There's nothing worse than that. I promise you that. There's nothing worse than that. So, you know, I just make this suggestion, like I've been saying for the over this live. Take your time, go see the neurologist, make sure that yourself, if you head in your 40s and up, because it can strike at any age, but more than likely, just like most people with arthritis, it starts in your 30s and 40s. Make sure that there's nothing around your brain that's shrinking, whether it's a brain cell or the brain itself. Go to your neurologist and say, yo, listen, I just want an examination of my mind. Because I promise you, we all know that as age come along, you may forget some things. But with dementia, this thing hits different because you might think you're okay, and this thing is just your mind is just disintegrating at the same time. In real life, it's a pain, y'all. It's a pain. And like I'm so sorry that I sound like Debbie Downer, but I just know what it's like to lose a person of that magnitude, that stature. That was the light of your entire world, but the light is dimming, and they don't know who you are, and there's no way for you to ignite that spark to spark it back up again. Mm, I'm just telling y'all, this thing I'm telling y'all about. It's a real thing. It is so real. I'm gonna go back in the chat to see if anybody, you know, where we got. You want to do more? We can do more. I'm just saying, this one right here, boy. This topic alone, we got a whole bunch more to do. But this topic right here, where I don't know. I'm I'm so scared of mental health after this. Y'all can like depression looks like depression look like a hill. Alzheimer's is a mountain. This is Kilimanjaro, Mount Everest, whatever's the highest peak. This is the creme de la creme. This is something that's so scary, man. I'm telling y'all. But if that's what y'all want to do, if y'all want to have more of this mental health conversation, I'm with it. You know, it's just, hey, Lisa. I'm just going, like I said, I'm just going through the chat. I'm just shouting everybody out. Realist, I said, what's up, the realist? Uh, I'm just telling y'all don't listen. Y'all don't really want to go through this. Y'all don't want to see that. I promise you, y'all don't want to see that. The fact that that loved one is going through that scenario, I'm telling you, it's a pain that's not even you can't even verbally speak about it. It's a pain that I'm telling you, you rather have that pain. You rather have that pain in your body than watching somebody's mind disintegrate. I'm telling y'all, it's real, and I'm pretty sure that the views may not go the way that they would normally go if I was talking happy go lucky. But I just felt like I said this mental health scenario, this mental health one right here, this needs to be spoken about. Y'all go ahead and examine. We tell each other to examine ourselves. Examine your minds. You can't try the devil in your mind if you don't know what the devil looks like. You can't try the spirit in your mind if your mind don't know what it's supposed to be doing. And this is why you gotta go ahead and do what you do. Look at that. June is Alzheimer and brain awareness month. So we just going on from mental health to brain awareness because it all starts in that one place, like Diane says, in the mind. They say the mind is remember that commercial? The mind is a terrible thing to waste. It's a terrible thing to see go disintegrate as well. That's not wasting. That's something tearing your mind up. That's something eating at your cell, the cells of your mind. This ain't a drug epidemic. This is a real life elderly person going through it, or somebody going through this in 50 at the age of 50, 60. Y'all all hear them stories about somebody being missing because they left their home thinking they know where they're going and they're not going nowhere. They can't be found. That ain't me making that up. That's been documented. Y'all don't want to go through that. I'm telling y'all really don't want to go through that. But I I don't know if y'all understand the pain of just thinking about that or reliving that. I don't think y'all understand that. I don't know if y'all hear it in my voice, the sadness and the pain of watching that occur. I'm telling y'all. Listen. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and stop right here, man. But it's not about me, losing it or crying or anything. The story has been told, and I'm pretty like, I think Meek said she lost her mom in this scenario while going through this scenario. If y'all don't understand what I'm saying, if she feel like she wants to talk about it, I'm pretty sure she probably won't even want to talk about it because that's how much of a pain that just remembering it brings up. The sadness of you observing that thing, it's a motherfucker. Excuse my language. It's a real sad scenario. But I that's my suggestion. Like I said, examine your minds, whatever age you is, just examine it. Hey, how's my, is that all good? Is it all right? Okay, cool. Thank you. I would suggest once a year. I don't even know how much that type of test will cost. I tell you this much: if you're trying to live a long age, you better know what you can do. There's nothing to it. You gotta guys gotta check it out. I don't, you know. With that being said, y'all, I truly appreciate y'all listening to me, even at the saddest part or the saddest point of the mental health scenario. I just want y'all to know the severity and how diverse mental health can really be. Whether it's, like I said, whether it's a low one or the highest of ones in my mind, which is dementia, also known as Alzheimer's. No matter how it goes, you guys got to understand the severity of this thing. You got to take care of yourselves in every way, shape, form, or fashion, especially when it comes to your mind. What good is you looking pretty if you don't know what the hell you look like, or remember what you look like, or remember anything about your past, or how to stay? You can't keep fit if you don't remember how you got there in the first place. You know. So with that being said, y'all, I'm gonna end this live. I believe Word is having a conversation in about 10 minutes. I ask that y'all join the Word. He will lift your mood a little bit from this conversation. I don't know if you're gonna be on petty time, but y'all go over there, check him out in a few minutes. He should be starting at 12:30. But I thank y'all for allowing me to have this conversation with y'all at this hour of night. Until next time, y'all. Have a good night.